Hi, everyone over on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our second interview with workshop leaders for the May Poetry Retreat, which is taking place on August 1st, virtually via Zoom. And welcome to Robb Fillman. Robb, thank you so much for joining me today and also for agreeing to lead one of the workshops.
Oh, thank you for having me, Dawn.
Can we get started off with you just telling the audience a little bit about what you do?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I live in Macungie, Pennsylvania, with my wife and our two kids and our two cats. I feel like writers always have cats. I'm a professor at Kutztown University in their English department, and I've also been teaching courses online at Moravian College in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. This summer, I've really enjoyed that. I have a chapbook that came out this past September through Main Street Rag Publishing, so I'm currently promoting that. When I'm not teaching or researching or hanging out with the family, I tend to be writing. So it's kind of a mundane existence, but that's a little bit about me.
But a very busy one, I think.
Yes.
And I have your chapbook and I've read it, and it's an excellent collection for anyone who's out there listening. Yeah, great poetry.
Thank you.
So the first question, when did you know you wanted to be a writer?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. I'm not sure that I have a pivotal moment. I always kind of had this notion of wanting to be a writer at various times in my life. I remember back to when my parents bought my older brother it was a Smith Corona, like electronic typewriter, so he could do his homework assignments. And I just remember like loading in the paper and just like sort of typing away. So I have sort of vague memories of, as a kid, this idea of being a writer being very powerful. I always loved playing with language. I loved reading and storytelling and talking about books. When I went to college, I was a double major in English and business. So there was this sense that like the English degree was something that I could pursue, that I was passionate about. But the business degree would be the way I would, earn a living. That would be my career. Or one was useful, one was the passion. So there was always this sense that I would like to be a writer, but to have one of those pivotal moments, I think that. Acknowledging that I was a writer happened after I realized I was already in the process of becoming one. Like once I was already writing a lot, that's when I sort of was like, oh, wow, I guess I am a writer.
Yeah, that's very cool. And at what point did you decide to veer away from business and into higher education?
That happened very early on. I think it was maybe a year after I graduated with my degree. I was like, I need to go back and get a master's because I really that's what I really want to do in life. I really took to environment on a college campus. I love talking about literature. I loved meeting with other students, with my instructors. And so I would say maybe a year or so after I got my undergraduate degree was when I went back and started pursuing a master's. I continued to work. And then eventually I went back for the PhD and went sort of full-fledged into just higher academics.
Yeah, very cool. What is your workshop teaching philosophy?
So I've been, as I mentioned, I've been, teaching for a number of years. And I've been teaching literature, composition, creative writing. To me, anytime I teach a workshop, it should be as comfortable as possible for the participants as it is useful. So I think a workshop should be supportive and nurturing. My goal as a workshop leader is to facilitate, is to offer up my thoughts and experiences as a writer, to prompt participants, to get them to try new things. Hopefully get participants to produce something new or to rethink something that they've been working on that maybe hasn't been working. So ultimately, if a writer leaves a workshop with anything at all, whether that's an idea for a new poem or the realization about something about their own writing process, as long as they leave with that, then I'm pretty satisfied. I tend to be, pretty open in these sort of situations.
Yeah, I love that. And I think when I interviewed Marcy, one of the other workshop leaders, I kind of heard the same thing about that comfort level. And I do think that's really important when people are really kind of being bold and showing up to put words down on the page and then share it with a group of people that they don't really even know. So I'm happy to hear that that's your philosophy as well.
Yeah, I mean, and I notoriously I struggle when I'm sort of prompted to do something on the spot. I like to sort of go back and ruminate and think about things, and
Yeah,
so there's an anxiety of having to produce work quickly and share it with other people that you don't know. And so that is not lost on me, and so I just remember my own experiences going through that. So I try to be especially cognizant of that feeling in the room.
wonderful. Thank you.
Sure.
Before Rob jumps in and tells us about his workshop, I want to just share a few details about the retreat itself. It is called May Poetry Retreat. It was started last year. We held it on the campus of King's College. Jennifer Judge and Michelle Anthony and I co-hosted it. It was the brainchild of Jennifer. I'm so glad that she came up with this idea of having a one-day retreat where we could just come together as a community and write and share and read. And we were so thrilled and excited to start planning for this year. In May, it was supposed to be on the campus of Wilkes University. And then of course, the pandemic hit and we pushed it to August 1st. And then not too long ago, we realized that it was not going to be feasible to meet in person. So instead of just postponing it until next year, we made the decision to take it online and deliver it via the Zoom platform, because we wanted to still get together, even if it was not face to face. So we could meet new writers and work with the 3 amazing workshop leaders that we have brought together. So it is on August 1st. It will run 9 to 3. There will be 3 workshops. There will be an open mic time where people can join and share their own writing. And there will also be some breakout rooms if people want to have small group discussions or a place to write like with other people, but just via the platform. So we are really excited about it. After this video has ended, I will drop the Facebook event page for it down in the comments, where it gives some registration details. And the whole day is only $15. So I'm just really excited about the retreat, and that everyone was on board of trying to, jump in and do this virtually. So thank you again, Rob, for that.
Absolutely.
So tell us about your workshop. I'm really excited about it because I've read the description already, but why don't you go ahead and share with the audience?
Okay, so this is a workshop that I'm calling Arbitrary Beginnings, and the workshop is really designed to get participants to generate new work, or if they wish to begin rethinking material that they've been tossing around. The focus is really about getting started. I think that all writers have idiosyncrasies. We all write differently. We all have our own process. We have styles that we're comfortable with, or that we're inclined to sort of go back to the well on all the time. But I think at any level, writers struggle with getting started, right? Having a center, a place to work outward from. And so the wager of this workshop is that if you are forced to work within a particular form, a particular line length, a particular syllable count, or riffing on a particular image or a particular sound, what might come of that if you force yourself, to hold on to that arbitrary constraint that has been constructed for you, or that you've constructed for yourself? Will that arbitrary beginning that you're forced to work with, will that lead you into a poem that you actually want to write? Or where the content emerges from that constraint, or will the arbitrary beginning lead you to write something in reaction to it? So either way, whether you're building from that original starting point, or you are working against it, the goal is that you get somewhere.
Yeah, and I love that, and I talk about that with other writers and my clients all the time. That blinking cursor, or that fresh white page, and it's like, where do you go from here? So just to get something down as a starting point, and then it really is interesting to see and amazing where people actually go, whether it is to stay in that constraint, or it just opens it wide open to something totally unexpected. So I'm really excited to see where your workshop participants go, and to hopefully participate as well myself. So
Well, that'd be
thank
great.
you.
Sure.
How about sharing a poem with us?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
So I picked one out from the chat book,
Mhm.
and this is a poem called Housebird. And speaking of arbitrary constraints, it's an ekphrastic poem, so it's based upon a painting by the realist, American painter Andrew Wyeth, right?
Okay.
Um, so this is Housebird. The evening light dislodged it from its perch, shot it straight through an open window, stone gray stopped on the mantel. How quiet the bird became. It might be straining silver or pulling the summer's edge from its beak, which tastes of goldenrod and zinnia seeds and mud. Hardly anyone can tell if it's confused or afraid. It is settled in the light of the sun, the way you'd listen politely to your best friend who's promised to read your poem. A heartbeat of disbelief rattling against dumb luck. Shadows cringe in its presence. The potted fern disappears. It's the leaning bird we want to apprehend. It doesn't seem convinced it's not alive.
I love that. I think sometimes with ekphrastic poetry, without some sort of context, like an explanation, if you're just reading in a book, sometimes it's hard to see it, but I think you just captured that painting beautifully. So
thank you. And that's, again, it's, sometimes when I'm stuck for inspiration, I'll open up a book of paintings and say, well, like this is going to be my starting point, and I'm going to force myself to work within this painting and see what narrative emerges. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. What do you think writers can gain from attending the retreat, your workshop and the retreat as a whole?
Okay. So this might sound kind of, I guess, prosaic or reductive, but I think that a writer's retreat like this gives the writer space, right? It gives you a chance to disconnect from your other responsibilities and allows the writer to grant themselves permission to work on the craft. We live in a world that is based on speed, on getting more and more done in shorter amounts of time. We are connected. We're having this conversation right now. We're connected in so many different ways, more than we ever were. So there's always, I think, chances for disruption. There's always chances for another thing that you're responsible for. And a writer's retreat like this, I think, allows the writer to say, for this day, for these 6 hours, I'm going to do nothing but give myself over to writing, to give myself permission to write, to read, to be creative, to share my work, to connect with other writers, and to think, really just about the thing that sustains them. And I think that's really exciting to me.
I love that, because I do think that everyone's like, I don't have time. I can't find the time. Their to-do lists are just so jam-packed, and it is saying, I'm going to put my writing at the very top of that list, and I'm going to block this time for it, and everything else can wait. So, and that's often why I attend workshops and retreats, because it's just like, I need to just give it's like a gift to yourself, right? To give you the time and space to write. So I love that.
Yeah, and I think that exactly what you said, that there's always something else, finding the time, making that commitment, and so here, you have, for the May Poetry Retreat, you have 6 hours to dedicate to it, and I think that's just that's just really exciting.
Cool, great. Can you tell us one fun fact about you, and it can be writing related or totally off the writing topic?
Okay, so fun fact, I'm a huge baseball fan, and I absolutely love the New York Mets. I've been a New York Mets fan since I was 5 years old, back when it was the team of the 80s with like Darryl Strawberry and Keith Hernandez and all sort of like those guys. And I've been to a number of games over the years, but I haven't seen them actually win in person since I was like 8 years old.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So it's probably a good idea that I don't go as much anymore, because they never seem to win when I'm there.
That's so cool. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Can we wrap this up with you reading another one of your poems, please?
Oh, absolutely. I can pick one out. So this is another one from the chapbook, and this is a poem called Superstition. Don't bathe in a thunderstorm, my mother would say. Lightning can strike. I think of this as I watch from the tub, each flash a split second closer to my wife tapping on the door, jimmying the lock when she gets no answer, finding me dead, body still warm and soft against the white porcelain. But nothing ever happens, and I do not want to go. Not yet. Not while water rolls down the curves of my shoulders in beads. Not without raising my hands in prayer. Not until I can pull back the curtain, satisfied that I am clean.
I love that poem, actually. So it
Thank
was
you.
beautiful. Thank you so much for picking that one and for ending on that. I
Oh,
really
sure.
appreciate it. So like I said earlier, I will drop the Facebook event page for May Poetry Retreat in the comments, and it does have registration details. The retreat is on August 1st, and the registration deadline is July 25th. Jennifer and Michelle and I are just so thrilled to co-host it and to be joined by Marcy and Rob, and also Laurel Rajeski, who I'm going to be interviewing on Monday night at 6 p.m. about her workshop. We're just really thrilled to bring all of these writers together to present the retreat for you. So if you have any questions, you can certainly drop them in the comments, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And we just hope that you will join us on August 1st for May Poetry Retreat. And Rob, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to have this chat. It's always good to see you, and it's always good to talk poetry with you.
Yes, thank you so much, for the invitation. I'm really excited about the retreat, and again, it's wonderful talking to you, Dawn. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And everyone who joined on Facebook, thank you for tuning in. And if you're watching the replay, we appreciate that as well. I hope you all have a good day, and I will be back on Monday with my interview with Laurel. Until then, have a great rest of your week and into the weekend. Take care, everyone. Bye.